Hey parents, I wanted to talk to you about your teenagers and speaking up. So, as some of you know, I am the confidence coach and I work with kids and parents and teenagers. And I've been coaching teenagers for a few years now. And here's what's a commonplace for teenagers if you have one right now. A lot of them will tell me stuff that they haven't told their parents yet. So, what's happening in the dynamics of the family where the child, the teenager, is not feeling like there's space for them to bring up topics that might be contentious, might be challenging for the parent to hear. Now, there's a lot behind this, but what I wanted to share, so I'm working with a few teens right now, and I actually create. So the way I coach kids is I do story-based coaching. So we do stories, we do reflection, comprehension pages, we talk about stuff. Stuff comes up in these sessions that they might not have been aware of before, and they're like, oh, they're just working it out in their coaching session with me, right? And then we do some kind of multisensory activity to solidify the concepts that we're talking about in the coaching session. And then there's a science facts page that, hey, I'm not making this stuff up. Like there's actual science behind the stuff that we're going through. And then there's a parent empowerment page, which gives the parent information about what was covered, what are some of the topics that were covered, and how to integrate those things at home, keep the skills going, start implementing, use those strategies, right? And then some of the modules also have parent online video parent learning modules as well. So it depends on the type. So I want to actually screen share one of my parent empowerment pages. I've not done this before actually. So all my materials copyrighted. I've created it. Well, the material that I use that I've created it, and I do use other curricula as well. But I want to share this one, and I've not done this one before, but I think it's a pretty important topic. I think that with social media and the internet being at the tips of teens' fingers, they will go to the internet first before they're coming to their parents or even sometimes to friends or counselors or other people. Like their first place to go is like, I'm going to go to Instagram or TikTok for learning about this thing or understanding what I'm supposed to do. So I want to just share a page, right? And I'm going to just like talk about what's on this page. So, how to support your teen when they share something you didn't expect. So, one of the core components of what I offer kids and parents is focus on the decision. Focus on the decision, not the outcome. When a teen shares something like, I want to quit piano, I want to take a gap year, I don't want to go to university, right? Or even as basic as, I don't agree with what you said, parent. What you said, I don't agree with it. It can stir a lot of emotions, disappointment, concern, and confusion inside the parent, right? And even fear, like fear can really amp up in some parents, and anxiety can ramp up. And a lot of it is related to, well, what if my child quits this, and then what's their life going to be like? What's their future going to be like, right? This is all normal in the parenting life journey, right? To have these experiences. But what matters the most in the moment when your child takes the courage or has the courage to talk about something is in that moment is how emotionally safe they feel saying it. How emotionally safe do they feel saying it? So supportive parenting responses, instead of saying, why would you quit now? Right? Like you can't take a gap year. That will waste an entire year of your life. We've invested so much in this. You're gonna regret this. Right? These are some things that might come up in the moment, right? When we are feeling activated and triggered. Fear might be speaking. We can try saying some of these things. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. These are just some guidance tools, right? I can see this is important to you. Let's talk it through together, right? Now, your job is not to convince your child. So, again, the thing is focus on the decision, not the outcome. We cannot control our teenager, and our teenager cannot control our response, right? So we want to model what it looks like to focus on the decision to talk about something versus focusing purely on the outcome and the result. So I can see this is important to you. Let's talk it through together. Again, your job is not to convince the teen. Your job is to talk about what your concerns are, what your feelings are, what your thoughts are, but not to dismiss them or invalidate them. I may not fully understand yet, but I want to listen. That is so key. If a teenager can get the message that, hey, my parent wants to listen, or there's an adult in my life, maybe it's not a parent, who wants to listen, phew, like that's huge, right? I'm I'm coaching a mom right now who has one teen and or preteen, and um one of the things that happens to us as parents is we get worried for our children that if they continue down a certain path, like whether that's something they're choosing or something they're feeling, right? Like maybe they're feeling anxious about something, maybe they're choosing something that we don't agree with. So let's just take the anxious one. We don't want them to feel anxious. We want to, they're our babies. We raise them. We're trying to protect them. We're trying to help them make good decisions in the world. So when they're anxious, we want to kind of nip that in the bud sometimes, right? So we'll be like, well, we might be dismissive or invalidating. We're like, well, it's not that big of a deal. Let's come on. Let's use a tool. Let's use a coping tool. Let's get over it. Let's go for a walk. I mean, those are good tools to go for a walk and use coping tools. That's good, but we don't want to dismiss the thing that, like, we might in our brain be like, that's not a big deal, honestly. But for the child, it might be a big deal. If you can recall your own childhood, when a parent, I mean, let's just say a best friend stopped talking to you, and us as adults were like, yeah, that happens in childhood. It'll be like a day or two, and then you'll find a way to make up and find a way to start talking again. It usually, pans out. It's not that big of a deal. But for the kid, they don't know that yet. Their brain's still growing and developing, right? And maturing. They don't have as much life experience. So when we come off as dismissive, it can actually exacerbate the thing we're saying is not a big deal. It makes the big deal bigger in their experience, right? Because somebody hasn't said, this matters, right? Or you value this, or this is important to you. This matters to you. That's why you're feeling these feelings. And when somebody does that, here's what happens often, and just check it out in your own life and see if it applies. But our body goes, okay, there's somebody out there who understands me. It's like the edge is taken off a little bit of this challenging situation, right? This is one of my favorites, and I use it with my children. I don't have teenagers, but I use it with my kids. I have some nieces and nephews, and I say, I'm proud of you for talking to me about this. Thank you for telling me how you feel. I appreciate that. So I let them know I'm proud of them, and I do offer some appreciation based praise. So key reframes for parents, instead of saying or thinking, like when we say reframe, we're talking about thought reframes before stuff comes out of our mouth, right? That's why coping tools are so necessary as human beings, but especially as parents and children growing up in this world. They're making a mistake. We want to try. Now, this says try thinking. I'm going to change the wording because I don't want to tell you what to think. But we could reframe to they're practicing decision making and self expression. So we're not focusing on the outcome of, hey, this is a mistake. We're focusing back on the decision to talk about it. They're practicing decision making and self expression. Now, aren't is the outcome the largest component of life, or is it the skill development that we want to focus on with the child, right? How to make decisions, how to talk about things, healthy communication, self-expression. These are lifelong skills. The outcome of something like piano lessons might have a short shelf life, right? It might, I don't know, might be a superstar pianist, who knows? But generally, it's a shorter shelf life. But all of these other components, decision making, self-expression, speaking up, these are lifelong critical life skills for health, well-being, and success, self-esteem, self-confidence, resilience, right? So what about this one? Like, well, they committed to this, they needed to follow through. We could reframe to they're learning what does and doesn't align with who they are. I know that's going to rub some parents the wrong way because you're like, they don't know who they are. They're still growing. They're still a kid. I'm a little exaggerated with my facial expressions here, so excuse me for that. Um, yes, and maybe this is part of learning who they are. I need to fix this can be reframed to I need to create a space to listen first. Why does all of this matter? Because teens who are given the space to speak, even when it's hard, build lifelong trust in themselves that, hey, my voice matters. Having grown up, no, believing my voice, nobody cares, nobody, my feelings, I'm on my own. That's how I grew up feeling and thinking inside. I know exactly how this feels. So if there was someone in my life who had given me the space to fully self-express all the crap that I needed to express, right? That would have helped me understand, hey, my voice matters. I matter in this world, right? And then maybe I would not have ended up in the hospital 2 times after attempting to take my own life because of loss of self-worth over time, right? That's a big, that's a big one, but I'm just saying that when they know that their ability to speak up isn't going to be shut down, that builds trust in themselves and you as the parents, right? How many adults do you know who don't want to have anything to do with their parents today? Or they really strongly avoid those phone calls, those family get-togethers. So you guys really need to think about, we all need to think about, what do we want in the long term? Sometimes we get like our blinders on and tunnel vision and we're just stuck in the survival phase of raising kids. And I really believe in taking those moments, micro moments even, to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Your openness now as parents teaches them how to navigate real world choices with confidence, empathy, and honesty. Life skills, right? This is an empowerment mantra. Mantra is a Sanskrit word for a repetitive phrase, often on a spiritual level. So I actually want to change this to the word chant because it's more accurate. My job isn't to control the outcome, it's to support the courage it took to talk about it in the first place. Let me know what you think. Send me an email, drop a comment wherever you're happening to listen to this or watch this. Let me know what's happening for you. Do you resonate? Did you grow up like this? Did you have experiences like this? And what are you hoping to create with your teenagers today? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.